shit I would do to get high? I mean, Mark knows, I'm driving to Tijuana with an eighth of a tank of gas, 3 in the morning. I knew I'd get to siphon gas to get out. I'm in there robbing people in Tijuana. Like, what am I, crazy? I was like crazy back then. A lot bigger. I could do that shit. I'm old now. Step 11 says prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be shy on this matter. Better men than us are using it constantly. It works, it says, if we have the proper attitude. Notice the word attitude. Go through the book. Find the word attitude. Everything in attitude has to do with my positioning to God. It has to do with me aligning. This is about spiritual alignment. That's what it is. It's about aligning my will with spiritual principles. That's what it is. So it's saying, if we have the proper attitude and work at it. So that's a challenge. Can I have the proper attitude? Can I work at this? Put a little bit of effort into this if you're new. And if you've been here a long time, we can still get better at this. It would be easy to be vague. We're not vague, okay? You're going to hear the word definite. We were definite about the example in the fourth time. Which one's vague about this? There's nothing wishy-washy, right? Neither black nor white, but lukewarm. That's what vague is. It says, we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. Okay? Here's the next direction. Notice selfish, dishonest, resentful, and afraid. Now we've learned what they are. Selfishness is my attitude. It's typically that I can do whatever I want and not pay the consequences. That you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. Dishonesty is the lies I tell myself. How I paint the red flags green, right? I do that all over my life. The lies I tell myself. It's also the inner narrative that I'm no good. The inner narrative. I'm not enough. Nobody loves me. Life's not, all those lies I tell myself. That thing about self-acceptance changes in 4 through 7. And it will become apparent here that if I follow these directions, I can't hate myself like I used to. I can't. This is about esteemable acts of helping God's kids, and by doing that, the shame will be healed. That's the way it works. Whether I like it or not, I came from a lot of that. A lot of self-hate, a lot of violence, a lot of resentment. And a lot of that's healed. When we talk about the disease killing us every day and it won't bury us, remember what that was like? There's a word, if you're new, the word called purgatory. And what purgatory, a lot of us have heard the word purgatory. There's a great story in AA about this guy's in purgatory and the angel appears. And the angel says to him, what do you want, heaven or hell? And he says, well, I don't know. He says, well, let me see hell first. So he goes into this room, and there's this huge banquet table. It's like, there's like 50 people around this table. And there's every kind of food you could possibly imagine. There's lamb and beef and filet and lobster. Beautiful, this beautiful spread. And around this table, there's like these 50 people, and they're strapped to these huge armchairs. And they've got this like 4-foot silverware, 4-foot long silverware duct taped to their hands so they can't feed themselves. And they're stuck in front of all this food for eternity. And you could see the agony. You could see the pain. You could see the starvation. And it says, that's awful. That's hell. I have to look at this for eternity and not have it? And he says, let me see heaven. So he goes into the very next room, and it's the exact same table. This beautiful banquet table. Same food. Same 50 people sitting around the table. They've got the 4-foot long silverware duct taped to their hands. And he says, he can't figure it out. It looks the same, but they're nourished and they're happy. And all of a sudden, one of them moves. And the only difference between heaven and hell is in heaven they're feeding each other. Selfishness, self-centeredness, that is the root of my trouble. Driven. When you drive cattle, right? The 4 horsemen drive the herd. Where do they drive it, bro? To the slaughterhouse. I am being driven by selfishness, driven by fear, driven by dishonesty, driven by resentment. I'm in the center of it and I don't even know it. Now it's time to get free. So it says here, when we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Where was I resentful? Again, if I didn't catch it at 10 on the fly, now I'm going to start to be aware of it. I'm going to start to be really aware of it. It's like that spot on my windshield where I hit that like thing, right? That the car's perfect. I did my 10-step. Everything's perfect. There's that little spot. There's that little, you know that ding on your door, bro? You know what I'm talking about, right? We all got that. All of it. I'm going to notice it now. I'm going to notice it. But see, I can live a life with a clean spirit if I follow these ideas. Where was I selfish? I know what that is now. My faulty emotional attachment is resentment, right? Selfishness, my attitude. Dishonesty, the lies I tell myself. Fear, my faulty relationship with God based on self-reliance. The agnosticism. I'm watching for it. I'm reviewing it, right? And it's asking me, these are the questions. You can look it up. There's apps that have all this shit. You can go through it on the app. If you're too lazy, sit with the book. I know. But you know what? If you're doing all this shit on your phone, you're not going to be able to work with new people. You can't do it like that. My experience is, this book, this piece of literature, it's a magical thing. I got to use the book. Otherwise, they get lost in it. They can't follow it. If I sit down, me and another guy with a book, with two books, I read it to him, I explain it to him. I ask him to highlight it. I ask them and explain it. Everything I'm telling you guys is so you can write it in your book and you can share it with a new guy. That's why we're doing this. It's not me. AA is not about working on myself. My sponsor said it's about getting rid of yourself. It is addition by subtraction. Okay? We've kept something to ourselves. Do I owe an apology? These are questions. Now, if I stop starting fires in my life, this is going to be a lot easier to do. But it takes practice. How many times do we say, God, I wish I didn't do that? Why did I say that? You know, I mean, it's like having that handgun on your fucking dashboard. You know, it's like, keep it there and you're going to start thinking about using it, right? Get that shit out of the fucking car. No! You know how many guys are in prison? There's probably guys right here that we know. Lost their shit on the freeway. You know what I mean? Boom, it's over. One stupid minute. Seconds and inches. A lot of us could have been there. So lucky. I've been riding motorcycles my whole life. I swear to God, I felt angels push me out of the way sometimes. I wouldn't even be here. We talk about not believing. Come on. A lot of you guys know how close we've come. We're lucky. We're survivors. So I'm watching this. Have I kept something to myself? You don't have to share it all with everybody, but you got to find my experience. I had to find a couple people that I could 10-step with. A couple guys I trust with all of it. You know, and it might be, you know, if you got some weird shit going on, a lot of people do. You know, you might have to have somebody to talk about that stuff. You know, I mean, we know the jokes, right? Went up to his sponsor, said he had sex with a chicken. The sponsor's like, did yours die? You know, all that stuff. You know, what's the other one? The guy's out with, he calls his sponsor and he says, I was at a restaurant the other day, I paid with a 20 and the waitress gave me change for a 50 and the sponsor says, well, that's terrible, you should give the money back. Girl could lose her job. So he gives the money back. A couple of weeks later, the sponsor and the sponsor are out having dinner. The sponsor pays with a 50, the waitress gives the sponsor change for 100. The sponsor puts it right in his pocket. And yeah, the sponsor's like, you get outside the restaurant and he says, she gave you too much change, why didn't you give it back? Sponsor goes, well, it bothered you. You know what? My dog can't poop on someone's lawn, it bothers me now. The shit I did in my first 3-4 years, I couldn't do that now. It takes up space in my head rent-free. Oprah said it better than anybody. When you carry out God's will, it is always followed by peace. It's followed by peace. It's like cutting someone off on the freeway and he's trying to get in and you fucking cut him off. You always feel like an asshole, you know that. When I let him in, I say, okay, I'm going to let a couple people, I live in LA, keep the rule one, a couple people every day, that's it. You know, but when I let them in, I don't carry that shit 3 exits past my exit. When I do the right thing, there's peace, right? Right. Why are we constructed like that? Because God made us like that. Honor. Honor is a gift that a man gives himself. It's got nothing to do with the other person. Hear that again. Honor is a gift that a man gives himself. It has nothing to do with the other person. You cannot cheat this system. This is a spiritual system to create freedom and purpose in my life. You think you're going to cut corners? Doesn't work like that. It's my experience. Okay? Were we kind and loving to all? Not everybody. Come on. We all need work. You ever been on a golf course with like old people or something? Or, you know, whatever it is. Fucking boat don't start up and everyone's waiting for you. I mean, these are rich guy problems, right? Yeah. Like four of your best friends come over, the boat won't start. Then they all came from like 100 miles away. Yeah. I see you guys break golf clubs, rip steering wheels out of cars, right? Have we kept something to ourselves that should be discussed at once? The longer I hold on to it, the harder it is. Okay? Were we kind and loving? What could we have done better? These are all powerful questions. Where we think of ourselves most of the time. Right? Or were we thinking of what we could do for others? Of what we could pack into the stream of life, man. This is what it is for us. To be giving, to be helpful. It's so amazing. It's like Mahatma Gandhi. He said, I've got so much to do today, I'm going to have to meditate twice as much. It's like, what? But see, the more I'm spiritually fed, the more I'm not concerned about these little plans and designs. Everything works out if I just follow these things. It works out. It says, but we must be careful not to drift. Circle the word drift. I'm going to drift. I drift across the double yellow lines, I'm dead. It's telling me it's my tendency to drift into worry, remorse, morbid reflection. Okay, so it tells me to be careful, to watch, to be vigilant. For that would diminish our usefulness to others. Why is all this usefulness and helpfulness? He keeps saying it because it's the answer. If selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of alcoholism, that from which it grows, again, the answer has to be service-centeredness, other-centeredness, God-centeredness. This is the bad news, but hey, if you got a fatal case of alcoholism, this is a pretty easy cure, right? Just do it. The only thing we do in moderation, like I said, the steps. After making our review, so we made this review, this is the nightly review, okay? It says, next prayer, this is the next major prayer. We ask God's forgiveness. Forgive me. There's erasers on pencils for a reason. We all make mistakes. And inquire what corrective measures should be taken. Okay? So again, this is, remember we talked about petitionary prayer? These are the petitionary prayers. On awakening. Now this is when I wake up. The reason they do night before day is because I don't want to wake up with this shit. I don't want to be carrying this shit into the next day. I'm cleaning the blackboard. I'm trying my best to do better. Because I'm looking for that quiet mind. I'm looking for a loving heart. I want to be able to match calamity with serenity. I want to be able to stay in fit spiritual condition. That's what I'm trying to do here. There's a reason. I have to look at what my purpose is. You know, I have to understand when it talks about motives. We're going to get there in just a minute. Okay? On awakening, we think of the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. And that might mean if you need to get a daily planner, I need to know what I'm doing throughout the day before I get out of bed. I know what meeting I'm going to. I know when I'm going to work. And you know, like they say, if you want to make God laugh, make plans. But at least I know. I've got a meeting every night of the week. I know where I'm at. I know where I'm at. I know where work is. There's not a lot of room for idle time for me. Okay? Now, there's time when I plan a vacation. But even when I go on a vacation, where's the meetings? I'm going to the, that's the first thing I look at. I'm in Cabo San Lucas, I'm in Colombia, I'm in Germany, I'm in France, all over the world, even Russia. I went to Russia, they had a 3-story clubhouse in downtown Moscow. AA on the bottom, Al-Anon on the top, and English AA on the top. and coffee and tea. Like, damn, couldn't speak a word of English on the first few floors, but the top floor, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. There was a couple of guys that spoke Spanish, but they didn't speak English, and we could speak, it was like great. Everywhere you go, London, England, man, go there, go to the meeting, and it's like Harrods. You go to the meeting, everyone goes out to lunch. You're from LA or you're from California, you're speaking, bro. The way it is. You go to the meetings early. I was told the meeting starts 30 minutes early. I don't know what that's like here, but I go to meetings early. You get depressed, you get lonely, you assign yourself as a greeter at a meeting you've never been to. I've never been to. Welcome to the meeting. Welcome to the meeting. I know more people in fucking 30 minutes than these guys know in 10 years. That's what you do. That's what we do here. We connect with people. Anybody can do that. What do you go? You're not allowed to greet? Come on, man. Yeah. These are just little things I do, right? So, we're asking God to direct our thinking. We're asking to be divorced from self-pity, from self-seeking motives. These are all important. He didn't put these here haphazardly. Under these conditions, it says we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. Okay? They used to say, don't go in your head alone, it's a bad neighborhood. That's not what the book says. What does the book say? It says, after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. If my motive is selfishness and self-centeredness, right? Everything in my life is going to reflect that. You think you could plant corn and harvest potatoes? I'm going to plant selfishness and dishonesty and resentment and fear in my life and harvest love and acceptance and power and purpose. Doesn't work like that. It's asking me here to clear my thinking of my wrong motives. Come from a place of love. Come from a place of helpfulness. What can I pack into the mainstream of life? If I'm coming from this position, my life will reflect that. That's the way it works. And then it says, we may not be able to determine which course to take. And here's the next prayer. There's 6 prayers here. Okay? Here we ask. Everywhere you see the word ask is God, except for the one where it says we ask our family to join us. It says we ask God for inspiration and intuitive thought for decision. Remember, inspiration, intuition, insight. These are all these ideas that are coming out of this part of the book for a reason, because he wants us to see this. I'm not making this up. You don't have a book, you're missing it. Okay? We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. We are often surprised how the right answers come after we've tried this for a while. Remember, Narcotics Anonymous has very similar things. If you go to the flat book on page 101, you'll see selfish, dishonest, resentful, and afraid. Where do you think they got that from? Because these are the things that have to change in me. Okay? What used to be a hunch or occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of my mind. In the spiritual experience, it says what seldom could have been accomplished by years of self-discipline often occurs in a few short months. So when people say, how long does it take to do this? If I put a gun to someone's head, I could probably get them to a 4-step in about 5 or 6 hours. But what it's saying is, even if I do all the work that we've talked about today diligently, it's still going to take a few months for me to start to really be able to apply this in 10 and 11. That's what it's suggesting. That, and it's going to be really clear on this. It's going to tell me something. It says, because what happens? It says, still being inexperienced, having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable we're going to be inspired at all times. There's going to be times when you go, is this all there is? I can't stand those same people at that meeting talking about the same thing. Every meeting starts with a resentment and a coffee pot, right? Yeah. Take your fucking meeting, you know what I'm saying? But instead of going to get loaded, I just start another meeting. But it says I'm not going to be inspired at all times. If you're coming to get something, you're never going to be inspired. The reason the grass is greener over there, it's because they're watering it. How do I water that grass? Again, like I said earlier, if I'm having a bad day, I need a meeting. When I'm having a great day, a meeting needs me. You start doing this work when someone raises their hand, like, you know, the chips, 30, 60, 90 days, that's not for the new guy. That's so we can find them. I always thought it was for the new guy, right? I lost my house, my car, my job, got a drunk driving, and I get a little chip. Is that my, like, you know, no. The original chip system, I was told, was so we can find those people in early recovery and be helpful to them. They're waving a flag. In fact, for a lot of people that don't have recovery, the further they get away from that drink, the closer they get to relapse. They're either moving towards a drink or they're moving towards this. And that window might be very short for some of these people. The whole chapter, working with others, is crystal clear. Again, these ideas like codependency, these ideas like enabling, these ideas that we talk about here, boundaries, the language isn't there, but the concepts are there. So it says, our thinking as time passes will be placed on a plane of inspiration we come to rely on it. That's a direction, and this is the end of this plane. We usually conclude this period of meditation with a prayer that we've shown all through the day what our next step is to be. Okay, again, another prayer. We're asking God to show us what the next step is to be, right? That we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. Okay? Next prayer. We ask especially for freedom from self-will. He keeps saying this. It gets really repetitive because it's my tendency to drift back into selfishness. And careful to make no request for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others can be helped. Okay, this is very similar to the wording in the 11th step. Praying only for knowledge of His will for us, and I'm praying for the power to carry it out. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. It's just asking me that. Many of us are wasting a lot of time doing that. It doesn't work. Okay? You can easily see why. And then this is more of these ideas. If circumstances warrant, we ask our wiser friends to join us in morning meditation. If we belong to a religious denomination which requires a definite morning devotion, it says we attend that also. If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few sets of prayers, 3rd step prayer, 7th step prayer, serenity prayer, the 11th step prayer. We all do that stuff. All that stuff is designed to take me away from something. Lord, make me a channel of thy peace. 10 clears the channel. 11 fills the channel. 12 empties the channel. I can't become a channel of thy peace unless I clear the channel. 10 is clearing it. 11 is filling it. 12 is emptying it. It's all setting me up for this idea. Okay? There are many helpful books. It's very interesting how Bill is suggesting read other literature. Right? You know, I know other fellows who like they want to do a book burning. They can burn everything but their book. You know, it's like, come on, man. But this has to be mastered. For someone like me, I have to get this down. Okay? Suggestions about these might be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Okay? They got an organized way of looking at it. We did not look at we agnostics, but there's a thing on page 55, which is such a powerful thing. I can't find it right now. We'll have to look at it later. But it's here are thousands of men and women. This is Alfred E. Newman, the governor of New York. He wrote this. He said, thousands of men and women, worldly indeed, that flatly declare that since they have come to believe in a power greater than themselves, 2nd step, that have turned certain attitude towards that power, 3rd step, and do certain things, steps 4 through 9, a revolutionary change in their way of living and thinking. In the face of collapse and despair. Was I in collapse and despair? Absolutely. Okay? Their total failure of their human resources, right? That was me. They found a new peace and happiness, which is 10, 11, and 12. Real simple. It's real simple. These are the ideas that go along with this. So I see where these people are right. Okay? As we go through the day, we pause when agitated. It's asking me now to be mindful. I'm mindful when I'm agitated or doubtful. Okay? I ask for the right thought or action. That's a prayer again. Okay, who am I asking? I'm asking God, right? We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, thy will be done. That's a prayer. And here's the warning. then we are in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. And the last piece right here is the promise. It says we become more and more efficient. Okay? We do not tire so easily. We are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. That's tiring. The more I'm trying to arrange the world to suit myself, the more exhausted I get. Okay? It works, it really does. It says we alcoholics are undisciplined. Step 10 and 11 are actually disciplines. In other words, they're self-teaching. We don't like the word discipline. It's like direction. I don't like it. But what it's asking me to do here is it's asking me to have this structured, kind of mechanical, spiritual way of living. And by doing that, I'm going to get freedom. So we let God discipline us in the simple way we've just outlined. This has been an outline. Everything we've done in the last hour has been the outline by which I can live. This is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12, and that was where we started today. Practical experience shows us that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking more than intensive work with others. It's telling me if I intensively work with others, I will have this immunity. Right? Life will take on new meaning. Right? To watch loneliness vanish. To watch people recover. We know you don't want to miss this. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our life. Pretty powerful. Are there any questions? That's it for me. I'm out. You got Darren coming. Thank you guys.